Good evening, sir.
6 p.m. We'll call this meeting to order. First thing on the agenda is the election of the officers. With that, I need nominations for the commission chair.
I'm gonna nominate Will Wade.
Okay,
I second.
a nomination and a second for Will. Do we have any other nominations?
Move
that?
nominations be closed.
Nominations are closed, and then we do need a vote. Vote for Will. Four
I think the trade.
One, four with one abstain.
I'll vote for it.
Latrade, you take your gavel?
I'll stay here for this time.
Okay.
Let's move.
It's your meeting now, sir. We do need elected, vice chair.
Continuing on with the elections, do I have a motion for vice chair?
I would nominate Terry Frank.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Any other motions or discussion?
Make a motion nominations be closed.
Motion carries, let's put it to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None? Looking at the appointment for fire commission committees for 24, do you have anything for that, Scott?
So we do need, to appoint the committee liaisons for those. And to be honest with you, I don't know who was on the radio committee, because Steve Zahn was the committee, not the on it, but he was the liaisons for this committee. So there wasn't a chair, there wasn't a person, a commissioner on it last year, so.
We have anybody want to be on the radio committee?
Explain how that works.
So, basically, there's, that committee has a fire and a rescue commissioner on the committee, and they're just, they're advising to help, and usually give the report for the radio committee report of what goes on. They held that meeting today, had a great group of people in there today, going through. I know their next meeting is the 29th. They kind of pick their own schedule. They don't set it on a specific date to try to get the most people there. That person brings back whatever's coming out of that committee and recommendations and those kind of things to the commission.
Do they try to meet during the day or
They do
evening?
meet during the day for most of them. A lot of them have an alternate schedule, so they do meet during the day.
It ain't like I ain't got my plate full, but if we need somebody to volunteer for it, I will do my best.
And I can
But
tell
I
you,
can't make promises,
we-
because I don't, I
we
may not be
can
able to do
Zoom
that.
that meeting where they, because they do it in the conference room and then record it, so you could always see it if
Okay.
you needed to. And then Aaron, the radio, our new radio communications person that's working on that, is really good about notes and doing that, and would be glad to fill you in if you're unable to make your meeting.
If I need to follow on that sword, I will.
If we had to, Scott, if Bruce did take it and he couldn't make it, and it was a meeting that we felt we needed to be at, somebody else from the commission could take his place just for that
Yes,
meeting,
correct.
correct?
Correct.
Bruce, you wanna be on the committee?
I will follow on that sword if need be, yes, sir.
Well, I'll make the motion, Bruce be, our radio committee liaison. Have a second,
I second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
The incentive committee, Scott, can you give us a brief on that?
Incentive committee really meets, one time. They'll meet, here in the next month and sets the final standard for what is going to be next year. Don't see a lot of changes. It's just a discussion, a brief on what was paid out this year now that it's finalized, those kind of things. To be honest, this year's gonna be an easier one for that, because, the helicopter is finally done. You'll get that brief a little bit later. And some of those things that we've been working on to get for the incentive, is done. So really that one meeting, outside of any appeals or complaints that have to be done after we do incentive. That's when they would get involved again, after they set the standards that are pushed out. What I would like to do this year is, they're gonna set this year's standard, and then we would probably meet in September again and actually set next year's standard, so that we have the standard before the year starts. Cause it runs October to October, and here we are, people complain that we're so many months in, and they didn't know if we do any changes, so.
Tony, you're our current representative.
Yeah, I think I've been on it every year since I've been on commissions. I'm glad to do it.
I make a motion. Mr.
Motion
Tony,
to keep Tony on the committee.
if he's willing to accept it.
No, second.
Second it.
All in favor? Next item on the agenda is approval of minutes from last month. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes? Anybody have any comments or discussion? Have a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Radio Communications Committee report, Scott, since we didn't have anybody yet, do you have anything for us on that?
Yes, so we've been talking about the Highway 130 tower, the pads and everything were poured for the buildings, the generator and the fuel tank, to get that, new tower operational. So the money is there in the budget to move forward. We are waiting on the, comptroller for the, frequencies, but, we've trying to push that, forward. We are holding off on the Salem Tower. That one is so much taller, than the Salem Tower. We're moving our efforts up there, so we put the Salem Tower on hold. Also pending a newer, taller tower at Duke Energy, which will also be battery backup, or generator backup and everything, which we are already in the negotiations on engineering with them. So our antenna would be taller, not but a few miles away, and in a better location. So we're going to 130, and then the possible Salem Tower would possibly move to the Duke Energy Tower. That would be a brand new tower for them also. And so it would be new infrastructure, connectivity and everything. Better off all the way around, as we do engineering. They had a meeting today, and they're going to be meeting back again on the 29th. So there, you will see an email very quickly. In the schematic, each station has a, yes, sir,
February 29th.
February 29th.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Each schematic or each department has a choice to put a zone that they have a different way that their channels are. So it's a channel specific, it's a department specific zone. If a department doesn't tell us what that is, we can't make them their zone. So when you get that email, we have the outline, mainly it's in the outlying departments that have other departments that they end up talking to a lot that aren't in the first zone, that we see the difference. So, please encourage, as you see that email come out, and for your chiefs to get that information back. Sooner we get that information back, sooner we can start programming, channels. It is going to be important that we get these radios touched. We are finding small things wrong with every single radio we touch. So they are trying to do their homework and make sure the schematic's right as much as possible, so that they can go through. Literally today, they were looking at the radio, the programming of the radios of the people in the room. And you would think all the radio people would have everything right, and some of them were finding small things that we have now found that are wrong. You know, I can give you an example of one of the things they talked about is, there's one checkbox, and it allows, your radio's scanning, but when you key up, it puts it on the last radio channel that it scanned. Well, no, we want it on the channel that you're on, so if you're on the fire channel and you're scanning and you key up your radio, it goes on the fire channel. Not the hospital channel, because you're scanning the hospital, whatever that may look at. So again, it's one little box in a system of thousands of boxes, but that we find is wrong in channels, in the workup. The other piece, we are working with the hospital on simulcasting better the radio system, so for interoperability. So we're in the process of negotiating that and trying to make sure that we continue interoperability on the rescue, and fire scenes like a motor vehicle accident and those kind of things, so that everyone can have the information, as best as possible. The upgrades are supposed to be being done with the hospital system, and EMS dispatch, to where, hopefully we're gonna get better information back and forth. The two CADs will get tied back in together. That upgrade is supposed to be happening, within the next month. Heard that before, but that is the timeline presently, for the radio committee, or for the dispatch side of that, piece of it. Lots of upgrades to infrastructure, and, battery backup, and, you name that. In doing so, as part of the advancements, it's been recommended that we're gonna replace 2 of the older repeaters that are in the county. And we're gonna build a plan to actually put them into a rotation to replace them. We've always fixed them, and so we wanna go ahead and start looking at that rotation. Before one goes bad, we wanna make sure, and we will keep one, so if we get a lightning strike or whatever, we can immediately replace it with an older one until the newer one for the replacement comes in, as that plan goes through. But that is part of one of the recommendations coming from communications to us, to work through, for that. So a lot going on the communication side and radio side, but we do have a lot of progress. We do have the part-time radio programmer, has been chosen. He is going through the hiring process, and we will do some introductions, most likely, soon, so that we'll start really ramping this up and getting programming done.
I know you said that Aaron was going around testing Motorola's and Kenwoods. How'd those tests go?
I didn't get a report on it yet, they're still not 100% done, but with a correctly programmed radio, there was not much of a difference between the two. Certain areas, it is more about scanning that is the issue, but they're supposed to be finalizing that soon.
Is there a way that, cause I know with our department, we bought a Kenwood, and of course, we've got the Motorola's to see. The Kenwood was programmed exactly the way Cleveland's radio, to the point it actually tones when Cleveland gets a call, so, which is fine. But it's still kind of not hitting the way I was expecting it to hit. Is it possible to get that? I know we can't do everybody's yet because we ain't got our problems fixed. But the best Band-Aid we got so far, so that we can continue to test that radio in our area.
The Kenwood or
Both. I mean, it'd be
Okay.
nice, because I know we talked earlier, a year ago, about taking a Sunday morning and riding around and
Yep.
picking locations and just checking, and been kind of waiting to get something that's as close to programmed as right to do that.
So I will have Aaron contact you.
Yes, sir.
He is getting the programming
Okay.
for the Kenwood, but we do have a contact, to get a Kenwood program.
Okay.
So the newest one, and then also he should be able to take at least one of your radios, and get the most up-to-date,
Okay.
questions on radio communications? Moving on to the next item on the agenda, Scott, do you wanna continue your report?
Sure. Alluded to this earlier, incentive medical transport, we have the signed contract, we are in the process of, the numbers for actually the people. Most likely tomorrow or the first part of the week, we will actually send out, to the chiefs, the required, paperwork for dependency. So basically, we have to, for those people that qualified under the county's, policy, for incentive, we will need to get that form from, MESA, their form for the dependents. That form is important because your dependents are covered under your, medical, coverage that we're providing, for this. So, it's gonna go out, we're gonna need it back as quickly as possible because when that slot is not active until we actually have all the paperwork done. So you'll be getting that quickly. Please, when you talk to your departments, make sure they filled it out. Even if they got 6 of them, send it in to us, because those 6 get covered. If someone's not getting it done, we can get them, done, but we wanna try to as fast as possible get those in so we can get that medical coverage done. Again, it's been a gap for a while now, that we used to cover. The good part is literally this covers, medical transport. It does not matter the helicopter, doesn't matter the ambulance service. It covers medical transport. So of course, as all of those supplementals, your insurance covers first, and then they cover whatever the remainder of that, transport is for an emergency, transport for, helicopter and medical transport. So,
On that note, the county just paid for the one that got in incentive check last year.
correct.
All the other members,
It'll be up to the department to hold their own. It'll be up to the department to hold their own, at this point, policy. We are only doing the policy right now for those that meet the incentive. And so, we have departments that already have people, that they're paying for. But right, in the past, we billed and back and forth who got it, who didn't, and everyone on the roster got it. They have to be on, like, for us, they have to be in our paperwork and all that too, to actually, for us to, count them, so the members that are, lifetime members and stuff that some of the departments pay for, we would not be able to pay for because we don't have they don't have their employment paperwork and everything. So, that was one of the reasons why it was chose, that those members that don't meet incentive, the department would need to cover. And they're eligible to go, every one of our departments is eligible to go to the association and purchase that themselves. They're at the same price we are. I mentioned it, the part-time radio position, was offered, and we're waiting on the physicals and everything for him to start, for programming, and all of that, as we go. Radio system update, I did that pretty much with the radio committee. Their meeting today was very productive, and they got a lot done, and the group chose to meet, to finalize those channels on the actual schematic for that, February 29th. Of course, this year, a lot of the hazmat and fire people will be involved. The biennial county response drill for Oconee Nuclear, which is the emergency worker decon for the actual piece of that, is coming up. We will be working on training we are going to be doing as we have in the past, at Oakway Fire Department. But anyone involved with, hazmat and those, are gonna be highly involved in that. Each year, or each biannual year, it does seem they want a little more and more. They ask for more, they do that. As that goes on, we're seeing different things from training, requirements that they asked us to produce and some of those things. So please encourage your members to get radiological training. Scott Smith can get you, he can do it, other people can do it, to get that training. I know everyone goes, you know, we've done it before. We are seeing that they're asking how many responders do you have, and show us their yearly training. And so we need to just make sure we ramp that up, we get that. It's a relatively easy class. At the same time, it's a lot of information, and it does change. And when I say does change, some of the numbers have changed, that the state mandates and those kind of things for callbacks and all that, as they've been updated. So, we're continuing to work through that process. You know, we now teach every sheriff's officer also, we have to. So it continues to grow on what they want us to train and do, for that. And, August 18th, I believe, don't hold me to that off the top of my head, is the date we're gonna have the full scale at EOC activation. If any of you would like to, see that, it's 65 people packed in the EOC. And evaluators and everything, the state, everyone, Clemson, Greenville, Pickens, Oconee, Anderson all play, in that exercise. So, you're welcome to, just please let me know. We'll make sure we can have a few people. We can't have tons because we don't have enough room, but you're more than welcome. Let us know on that. And any other questions for me on those? If not, Chief Smith, had to go, to a funeral, and so he asked me to go through what he was planning on, going over. Awards ceremony, amazing, that's all I have to say. Gave out tons and tons of awards, well received, everything from, firefighter of the year, officers of the year, rescue of the year, career and volunteer. And then we had a lot of life safety from police officers, dispatchers. We are issuing those to anyone that was involved. Doesn't matter the agency. We had DNR officers, we had city police officers, we had county police officers, we had city police, county firefighters, all on the same scene, all getting recognized for saving a life. Great opportunity, but we can't do it without the chiefs writing people up, saying, hey, they did a good job, or, hey, we heard this guy made it out of the hospital. We tried to get that with the hospital. And the piece of that is documentation. The way we know who was on that call is the ER report. So the reporting, we go through that. And then we try to add who else was on that scene that made a difference. If officers were on that scene, we try to get the catalog and those kind of things to make sure we recognize them too. Because if they started CPR before us or helped us do CPR, they were part of that chain. And that's one thing we want to recognize is it takes all of us, from rescue to fire, dispatch, everything, to make this whole thing tick, from volunteers to paid staff. I was sitting beside Amanda and I mentioned, I said, when you look up there, we had volunteers standing beside paid staff, standing beside an officer, that was paid, standing beside a dispatcher, all in the same call, all working together, to make that happen. So, and good things that happen, bad calls, crazy calls that, write it up. You're part of the committee that actually, Austin, you were on the committee this year. The awards committee that actually looks at all of them and says, this qualifies for this award, this qualifies for that award, and picks that. And so if we don't have it, I'm not on every call. You know, you're, the chiefs are, you guys are out there too. Get that information to us, cause we know we miss people. And the goal is let's give out to everyone that deserves, something, for what they do, especially, you know, middle of the night volunteers getting up out of the middle of the, you know, out of their own bed. Very, you know, very important. So, so great, you know, opportunity there. Next thing is 12 years in the making. We hope to, around the 15th of March, to actually fully staff Bountyland and start the response from Bountyland in their response district. We are working with the city and dispatch and everything to make that all, come together. But I wanna invite you to, March 28th, from 1 to 4, we will have an open house at Bountyland. And at 2 o'clock that day, the Woodmans of America are gonna dedicate the flagpole that they donated to us. We will officially raise the flag on that station, as we go through. We do plan to start moving our staff, as they are coming on board, over there. So you'll start seeing staff over there, not 24/7. A lot of them are going to training, a lot of them are getting oriented to the county, and we're getting all that done, so they'll start working over there a little bit. They're gonna start doing pre-plans, they're gonna start familiarizing themselves. I met with the contractor yesterday, and so our guys stayed over there. The red light is gonna be done by the time they actually get installed, so they'll have a clear run onto 28. They can push a button in the bay, and it's a clear run right to 28. It'll open it right up, so they're not stuck on 8 o'clock traffic in the morning like we've all seen there. We'll be testing that in the next couple weeks, as that goes through. But long time coming, but ladder 21 will go there, and so will what used to be engine, the custom at 11, is now engine 21. Going there, so we repurposed that. Recruit school, going well. We actually have 10 members. It's a full class from the region. But we have 10 people in it. And those 10 people, we hope, you know, that all of them pass and we can move them through to actually, fill a lot of those slots that we've been empty for a long time. We actually had 17 employee starts in January. So with 17, or I'm sorry, January and February, because they've scattered throughout there. But, to this point, 17. They're coming in, we're gonna, you know, be able to support departments better, above what we've been able to do for a long time. You know, staffing takes that. All I'm gonna say is, give us some time. Again, 10 of those people are just going through rookie school, okay? We've gotta train them, we've gotta be willing to understand their mentality of they're brand new and they may have seen it one time. And so we're gonna have a continued learning curve on that, but we're gonna do our best. But again, we have more people than we've had in years, actually, out there to support everyone, for that. You will see a flyer I gave you about a rail, road 101. I would say, you know, very good class for Norfolk. Recommend everyone possible, look at that, see, what our options are on there. Class is April 22nd. April 22nd. It's an all-day class, if I'm not mistaken. The 22nd that's a Monday. We will get more information out to you, on this. I thought the time was on it, but I guess not. So, we have almost a very significant section of that track. And when I say that, it cuts through Corinth Shiloh, it cuts through the city, it cuts through Westminster, it cuts through Long Creek, or on Cleveland's area. You know, there's a lot of railroad and a lot of people affected in our county. We can't assume that just because the track doesn't run through, that we're not gonna be there. Think about a structure fire, we send, lots of people, and I've had, not this specific one, but a class like this, and it's very informative just to keep the firefighters safe, on the regular call, because every day, chemicals, fertilizers, explosive product come through Oconee County on that train. Every morning at 6 o'clock, Amtrak comes through with a train full of people. Well, I don't ever see people, I'm not sure if Amtrak runs people anymore, you know, so I encourage you, if you can get people available, you'll see more of that information come out, but that's the flyer on that class, for that.
Is
When
that-
was the class when we hosted that?
I will have to find out, I'm assuming, Chief, let me see, he didn't actually, I'm sorry, we have 50 slots, he did say that, okay, sorry, there's a limit of 50 people, and it's a first come, first serve, but it doesn't say where, so we'll have to get that out. We'll have to get that out to you. So, gonna try to bring a bunch of other stuff in there. When it comes to training, you know, you're gonna see a few flyers. We're partnering with different groups. This train class, the same thing, we're trying to partner with groups, bring some of those things in, so it's not just Oconee County. You're gonna get a flyer soon about some more training, so just pay attention. We're trying to do that to bring some of the not just regular stuff in, like this train class, so that people can get a different feel, especially, we all look around, each one of us up here has some people, that may have never been there, may not done that, and so, you know, offering these classes is gonna be important, so. That is everything Chief had.
I got a question about the boundary line station.
Yes.
Has the map been drawn of what they're gonna be covering?
Yes, I can go over that with you.
Okay.
Yep. And
Any questions for Derek?
the map, it's not gonna change like the boxes, I mean, we're gonna have boxes, it's, you know, we took distances, and that's how the boundaries were made. Distances from stations from station to station and that kind of stuff, is how the boundaries were made. And then, the boxes, Chief is going through and, you know, what's the closest units, just like we did with the other boxes, there'd just be new boxes, on that.
Any other questions for Derek? Moving forward in the commission updates, I'll go ahead and start with Region One. There's papers, that was handed out to everybody about MSAG one and Lunar. I had one of the chiefs in my district, talk to me about Lunar cameras, or thermal imaging cameras that we're currently, some of us are still using. The MSA cameras, they're about $16,000 to $18,000 a camera, they're very expensive. These Lunar cameras, the last quote I had, from Safe Industries this week was $2,800 a camera. They're significantly cheaper. They also have the ability to, link to the MSA G1 packs, so you can see the air readout of the packs, and the cameras will actually track other cameras, so if you have two of them, you can actually use one camera to locate the other camera if they go down inside a structure and need additional help, whatever the case may be. It was proposed that there's software also that you can stand out in the yard with an iPad and be able to read air readouts and where they're at inside the building with those cameras. The subscription for that is around $3,600. It was proposed that the county, we proposed it to you, Scott, and the Chief Smith, to see if the county could purchase the subscription for that, and then each department would be responsible for purchasing those cameras if they wished.
Do you know if that's 3,600 per iPad?
I think it's $3,600 per umbrella subscription, kinda like ERS is.
Okay.
And then you can have
Logins.
multiple logins.
Okay.
That was just this is the most I could come up with, today as far as research for that. There's also, there's information on the packs and the camera, the packs as well, the cameras separately, and then the last page is a comparison between, a home system and the camera. Two different products just to compare out there that does some of the same things. The hub system that I was looking at, the subscription for it started around $9,000 to $10,000. It was significantly more expensive than the Lunar subscription. But just options that was asked to be proposed and talked about for that one. To kind of help with accountability and safety on scenes for interior crews. The other thing that was asked to be brought up was for hazmat specifically. They have found out recently through some training, they didn't know it was gonna be a problem beforehand, but their pass devices going off. They were doing a training with keys and locks, and while their members were trying to shake to turn the pass device off, they were snapping keys in the locks. So they're asked to see if there's any way to purchase in the next few budget years or upcoming budgets, not this current one, to see if they could get 4 packs without pass devices. The current NFPA standard 1981 and 1982, the 2022 version, does have exemptions for hazmat teams where they do not have to have pass devices.
Did you say 4?
Yes. They do have, NFPA did have the requirement that if they had RFID tracking, capabilities through another system, that they were exempt, and their gas monitors, from what I was informed, does have that capability. So just something to add, to see if it was something that's.
Okay.
And that's all I have. Go to Region 2.
I got nothing tonight.
Okay. Region 3.
Nothing to report.
Region 4.
All right, so basically, what I don't know is, I don't know if y'all, the last chiefs meeting, we were supposed to bring from our districts, our regions, a representative to be on an accountability, committee to, the question come up at the chiefs meeting about our ID tags and why they're so difficult to get, why we gotta have expiration date on them. And then Chief Smith was like, okay, are people actually using any of these things? And the response was no, because nobody is. So he suggested that we need to look at that. So some of the chiefs is like, okay, let's, use the IDs for what they are intended for, just an ID. And come up, each, like I said, each region send a representative to be on the committee to look at what's available, simple to use, that we can put in place and start working on it. So I know I met with mine and we've got a representative, but I don't know if anybody else knew about it, heard about it, or.
I know of 2 other representatives. I was selected for Region 1, and I think, Terry
Yeah, I talked to a couple.
was selected for Region 5.
I hadn't talked to all of them yet.
But we haven't heard from any of the others. I would love, I know the fire chiefs, asked for us to have a report by next month, or this upcoming meeting.
Yes, sir.
So I'd love to see if we can't sit down and meet and talk.
Bruce, who did you have?
We had, Carter Stone from Station 8. We met with, the chiefs met, and then we met with him and kind of explained what we would like for him to bring to the table. to see if it's in line with what other people may have. But, you know, basically learning how to crawl before we start walking.
Oh, yeah.
And let's just start doing something. 'Cause there's a lot of good systems out there. I can't remember, like, I think some of the paid, what was, they're talking about at the chief's meeting.
Passports.
Passport, you know, which is a real good system, but I think that's just above our capability at this time. I'm just good with somebody handing me a cow tag that says, hey, I'm here. I mean, you know, that would be a start in the right direction. So, that's who we had, Carter Stone
Okay.
in District
I'm
4.
sorry, I was writing down the people.
That's fine, that's fine.
Okay,
So just
okay.
let us know when
I'll
that's.
I'll get with Chief and try to,
Okay.
we'll get the rest of those names too, so we can get that meeting, that committee going.
The next thing that I want to bring up is, you know, I'm part of a rescue type committee, and I know it just came out to the chiefs the other day, so check if you see it, ask them about it, but there's a survey coming out about training. And it's an online, simple, hey, what kind of classes are you looking for? You looking for days, nights, weekends, you know, and they're wanting a lot of feedback so that the training staff can try to better, what's the word I'm trying to use here? Serve
The needs.
of our people. So encourage you people to get that. If you hadn't got it, ask your chiefs about it. Make sure your chiefs send it out. I know for me, I gotta try to do a whole email. I've been on with Michael about, hey, I liked it better if Brady done the whole active 911. Everybody got it versus trying to come in and start our own emails in our departments. And some people may have that, I don't know. But to send that out, because it's going to be done email. It's done with Google something, but I saw it at our last meeting. It's real simple, real easy, like 10 questions maybe, and you go from there. So just wanted to throw that out there. If you hadn't seen it, look for it, ask about it, or whatever.
Region 5.
I have nothing to report.
Any other business for tonight? Scott, do you have anything else for us?
I don't.
Have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?